it's coming from me, of course, what I care about and what I've felt. They're all performances of different types, and I think the show is very aptly titled, and that's why it's so wonderful to have this show. Jen McCrory and Wayne Bearwald, the two curators of the show, realized that that's a continuum within my 40-year practice.
This all reflects back on the performativity of that back and forth, going back and forth between the sketch and the photograph, the studio, the lighting of the studio to make a photograph, a self-portrait, for example. All of these things sort of indicate the body in motion and her body. So it's all, I think, part of a self-portrait or the making of a self-portrait.
This period in time just seemed like a really good time to look at feminist art, and to do so looking at such a significant feminist artist based primarily in the prairies in Saskatchewan and Winnipeg, but who has had such a huge impact on feminist art in Canada.
As an artist, you don't really think about your practice as a whole. You think about what you're working on at the moment.
An exciting part of this project has been recreating exhibitions or presentations of Leesa's work in the past. We have recreated the exhibition Normal, presented at the Dunlop Art Gallery in 1997.
In Normal, the performance that I'm doing is often against what prescribed social roles would require. So I'm acting aggressively, I'm being angry, I'm being very powerful and large with my body. These are things that I feel we should be able to do as women. We should be doing them, but too often we're repressing these feelings of anger or rage, making ourselves smaller when we really want to be bigger, a bigger presence instead of shrinking. These are things I was enacting to make a point.
We wanted to create an immersive environment to re-experience that exhibition from '97.
Often I have a human being that becomes part animal. I'm imagining that we don't have to have the limitations that a human being has, so maybe we could fly. Maybe we have more arms that we could use to express ourselves, that identity isn't stable in one fixed thing. None of us are one fixed thing. And to label someone as one thing and take them and put them on the periphery or say that they're this or that is just wrong.
There's one text in particular that was written by Jen McCrory that really deals with rage and anger in an interesting way that I think lends itself to looking at all of the works. Issues related to the social and personal experiences of women in love, in the family, in the street, at work, in art, and in the body were the driving motivations for much of the 1970s and 1980s feminist art. It is this social issue-oriented work and feminist theory that informed Leesa Streifler in her foundational years and set the conceptual framework for her studio practice. With her own lived experience being at the core of her work, Streifler addresses the fear and anxiety of a plethora of life experiences of childhood, motherhood, sexuality, and the difference of non-conforming bodies, sorrow and regret over personal relationships and the inequalities of agency and representation, and anger over body politics and patriarchal social controls. These recurring emotional states, again, fear, anxiety, sorrow, rage, and anger, are represented throughout her practice, playing out as effect in her investigations of a private self mediated by a public objectifying gaze.
I see so many things that I pursued in different forms. There's the same idea, but different materials, from a different perspective, but still trying to get at the same question. It's a gift to me as an artist to be able to think about my work and what I have been trying to say, and when I feel that it might be the most successful, and gives me ideas for future work.